Australia's summer of bushfires has taken a heavy toll on South Australia, but from that charred landscape, recovery is emerging. Hi, I'm Jessica Harmson and thanks for joining me as we take a look at that recovery process. Our bushfire emergency began even before summer started. In late November, an electrical fault sparked a fire which laid siege to the town of Edithburgh on Yorke Peninsula. Residents evacuated, 11 homes were lost along with crops and livestock. But as Richard Davies reports, community spirit remains strong.
Picking up the pieces after losing almost everything. But like the landscape around him, Mark Houghton is bouncing back.
I've had worse things happen to me than being burnt out. We're still all alive, that's the main thing.
His childhood home was one of 11 properties destroyed when fire swept through Yorke Peninsula that fateful day in November.
I've been here for 71 years and yeah, I ain't never seen anything like this before.
But instead of dwelling on what he's lost, Mark Houghton is celebrating what he's gained.
And I think it's brought my family a lot closer together. I'm working with my daughter and son-in-law and I hardly ever talked to him before, but it's been really good.
And you see the trees are bouncing back, they're shooting, but the people are as well.
I think it's brought the best out in people. I've never seen so many people that wanted to help.
On fire-hit properties across the region, dozens of volunteers are not only fixing fences, they're also helping to rebuild lives.
Yeah, it'll lean with the wind.
Over the past few months, charity Blaze Aid has rolled out more than 150 kilometres of new fencing, work that would have taken farmers years. John Rowe and his wife Julie thought they'd help for a few days on their way from Western Australia. 6 weeks later, they're still here.
It's not only the work that we've done, it's sort of the camaraderie. Having a joke and laughing with them and interacting with them has really helped a lot of farmers.
When work finishes for the day, the Blaze Aid camp in Edithburgh becomes the local social club. Farmers mix with volunteers, sharing a drink and plenty of laughs.
The room's just full of laughter the whole time. There's, it's like they're making best friends. One farmer's even employed someone for harvest at the end of the year, so they'll be coming back for harvest.
Dear Blaze Aid, we'd like to give our heartfelt thanks to Karen.
There's no denying the big impact the fires have had here, but what's striking is the level of optimism. People have been telling us this tragedy has brought the community closer together, putting them in an even stronger position moving forward.
Something happens, so you've got to, buckle down and help out and do as much as you can.
But it's not a loss. I mean, it's still here, the ground's still here, the dirt's still here. It'll still grow, and it'll grow better.
A new beginning for a community that's been through so much. Richard Davies, ABC News, Edithburgh.
The Yorke Peninsula fire was just the start of what was to come. The Adelaide Hills were ablaze just before Christmas. One man died, dozens of homes were destroyed, and world-renowned wineries and food producers were left bearing a heavy burden. Reporter Brittany Evans returned to see how some producers are faring.
Farms in the Adelaide Hills are changing from orange and blackened back to green and bright. It's a transition that's helping to lift farmers' spirits.
You're okay, Crispy girl. There you are.
That's Crispy. Obviously you can see from her ears she was quite burnt in the fire.
Named after December's Cuddly Creek fire, Crispy, like many on the Carsview stud farm in Mount Torrens, was badly injured.
Q8 at the back, the little chubby one, she's also been burnt. We're not sure whether she'll be suitable for breeding. The likelihood is she probably won't be at this stage.
Come on girls, bed to bed.
All but a few paddocks on Zoe Carr's family farm were burnt, and about 20 of their heifers died.
So P12 is, one of the favourites. We lost her mother.
Arriving from the UK a week after the fires, Zoe, a qualified vet, has been giving calves and heifers round-the-clock care.
That's the kind of thing we were dealing with there.
That's why it's hospital ward, isn't it, girls?
Most of them are looking really, really well. We obviously do have some which are still healing, hence we're in the hospital paddock. But I would say over 50% have now gone out and they're ready to calve, hopefully.
We'll look at
what remains in the herd that have been fire affected. Being a stud, it's probably a bit more difficult to go and buy stock back in, like West Pacific genetics and everything else.
Despite the hard times, the Carrs are positive about the future. They've already welcomed their first calf for the year.
Hello.
Phoenix Rising. 15 minutes down the road in Lenswood, Tilbrook Estate is also welcoming new life.
It's really come back strongly, and it's great to see that that's happened.
Winemaker and owner James Tilbrook lost all of his bottled stock, equipment and 90% of his vineyard.
I really felt then that was it, really. We'd lost our whole livelihood. The winery was toast, the vineyard was toast. We had a little bit. I'm an extreme optimist, so I thought I've got maybe an acre or two that hasn't been toasted.
James has been doing everything to revive the vineyard, and although it's greening, he won't know if his efforts have been successful until spring.
In 3 years' time, hopefully we'll have fruit again. We'll have a winery, our own winery, and we can start sort of as we were.
For now, he's found a source of income with hope, made with wine and bottles donated or provided at cost from other wineries, and has even started rebuilding his new cellar door.
The fire started here at Cuddly Creek, 5 days before Christmas, casting a shadow over the festive season. But despite the devastation it caused, farmers say the community's response has been overwhelming. The donations and spirit shared, helping to keep them on their feet.
And you start to look at new fences going up now and some new life falling onto the ground and some of the trees starting to come back. You get that proactive feel and it makes you feel like you're moving forward again.
Keeping a nose to the grindstone. Brittany Evans, ABC News, the Adelaide Hills.
The Cuddly Creek fire meant a difficult Christmas for many, but by the new year, a new fire threat had emerged. Fires sparked by lightning on the western end of Kangaroo Island spread quickly. Half the island was blackened, a father and son died, wilderness and wildlife was devastated, as was the island's tourism industry. And as Claire Campbell reports, many locals were left wondering when the waste cleanup would begin.
The remnants of much-loved homes, now an eyesore, and in some cases a deadly one. There is asbestos amongst the debris. Nearly 10 weeks after the fires ignited, the clean-up is still tangled in bureaucracy.
To drive past a giant pile of rubble coming here every day, it knocks your psyche down a little bit, and it sort of puts you in a mood where you think it's never going to end. And it's important, I think, for your mental health to see signs of progress.
Yale Norris lost his 280-hectare farm, house, shearing shed, equipment and much of his Islander estate vineyard.
I lost a lot of hope on that night as well.
He's desperate to find somewhere to bottle the 40,000 litres of wine he saved, to keep some money rolling in over the 3 years he thinks it will take to recover. But for now, his time is tied up cleaning up, with the help of volunteers.
I've heard that a fair few people are digging pits in the back of their property and just pushing things into a hole. And I look at all this metal rubble that can all be recycled. Why aren't we recycling it? This should have happened straight away, and it's disgraceful that it hasn't.
A fortnight ago, the state government agreed to pay the clean-up costs, but the time frame remains unclear. Kathy Barrett fears the clean-up of her damaged sheds, workshops and fencing could still be months away.
It's actually frustration. I'm sick looking at it for nearly 9 weeks, and we want to be able to move forward. We've put ourselves on a lot of lists to get the help that we've been told is coming to us, and the information from those people is not flowing back down to us.
New sheds are on the way but can't be built until the site is cleared. The government agency responsible for the clean-up says it has cleared 5 of 170 properties and is still finding sites contaminated with asbestos.
I'm hoping we get this done sooner, but it's probably going to be around 3 months to get through the whole lot. And if we can possibly speed that up in any way, shape or form, we will. We've been so focused on the task, I think the risk is that we forget to tell people where we're at.
Despite the clean-up moving slowly, the island's tourism industry hasn't coasted along. Now nearly all attractions have reopened, but tourists are in short supply. And for many operators, it's been a rough ride. Kangaroo Island outdoor action has seen business plummet by 80%. With little money rolling in, staff have been laid off.
We had to send at least 4 guys off the island because there's just not enough work here for them. If we can't pay wages, then people don't go in the shops, people don't buy stuff, people don't go to the pub and have feeds and stuff.
The company's quad bike tours are run from Vivon Bay, a town which was under threat in early January, but is now safe to visit. Tour guide Sam Florence is turning adversity into opportunity, taking his tours through burnt landscape to show visitors the resilience of the Australian bush.
It's because there's not so many tourists because all is afraid of coming here, and that's stupid. So it's still a very, very beautiful island. You don't see as much burned down as you expect.
We grew up here, just so many memories.
On the other side of the island at Stokes Bay, Paul Stanton is slowly on the path to recovery.
Our whole history has been wiped out.
The family home he'd spent 46 years building still lies in ruins.
It's just hard, very hard. We're past the shock of it now, and we've just got to face up to it and get on with it, basically.
He is welcoming back visitors, including the furry kind, to the cabins he owns overlooking the bay.
They're not scared of people either, are they?
No. Well,
some of the cabins are now makeshift homes for fire-affected families, including his own. The others are in hot demand, thanks to a state government campaign encouraging South Australians to book them out.
Thank you so much to Australia for helping people that have been through this disaster. It is wonderful, and I think that is encouragement for everyone to get their feet back on the ground and move forward.
An island ready to move forward in leaps and bounds. Claire Campbell, ABC News, Kangaroo Island.
The fires tested everyone this summer, not the least the volunteer firefighters. And while the weather might be milder, the work still continues for that extraordinary group of people. Tom Fedorovich reports.
Okay, go.
To say it's been a busy summer for the state's 13,500 country fire service volunteers would be an understatement.
When you see what people went through and you see what was saved compared to what could have burnt, it's been a horrendous season, and so many people have been impacted by it.
It has been an extraordinarily relentless summer. It's been hard to catch a break.
Amelia Yaron signed up to volunteer with the Belair Brigade, keen to reconnect with the community after returning from 10 years in the US. Like many CFS members, her season started in New South Wales, and that's where she was when the Adelaide Hills caught fire.
Gosh, I don't even know if I have the words for it. It was hard seeing my brigade go out there knowing there was nothing I could do because I was already deployed in New South Wales. And then before I came back, Kangaroo Island kicked off again.
Aside from the bushfires, there are routine calls for the CFS, such as fallen trees and car accidents.
I've got a husband who understands that when I'm on call and the pager goes off, I go. And I'm really lucky with these deployments that I've had family close by that have been able to help with the family logistics that come with having 2 kids under the age of 4.
John Mudge has spent 39 years volunteering in the CFS. He too counts on his family's support.
I was concerned this last time though when he had so many nights on Kangaroo Island because I knew that he'd be exhausted.
And I knew also that it was difficult work.
A former school principal, John brings his planning and people management skills to the incident control centres in every bushfire crisis.
For everyone you see on the fire ground, there's a lot of people working behind them to make sure they get what they need, what they want, when they need it, as best as we can.
This summer has also seen 2 deployments to bushfires in New South Wales, as well as Port Lincoln, Cuddly Creek, and a 7-day stretch of night shifts on Kangaroo Island.
It's hard work, yeah, particularly if you're doing night shift, because you try to sleep from about 10 o'clock in the morning till say 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Your meals are back to front, you get up for your main meal and you go to bed with your breakfast.
It's an effort that will be harder to repeat in future seasons.
I think I need to wind down a bit. The CFS needs to get a succession plan going. They need to get some younger people in.
I think it's an exciting time for the CFS because we've got this opportunity to embrace the enormous diversity within our communities and to promote that as well.
Something to ponder as South Australia's bushfire hazards grow worse. Tom Fedorovich, ABC News, Adelaide.